Oh, hello, can we please talk about UFC Vegas 53, headlined by Rob Font and Marlon Cheeto Vera. Also, we'll have a quick look at things that have been going on. Not a lot's been going on in terms of mixed martial arts news this week, although we have got a couple of fights confirmed for the old UFC London. They're going back to London in July. And a couple of fights have been confirmed for that, so I'll be looking into those and rounding up the terrible bets that I put on UFC Vegas 53. I mean, even for me, usually at least one will get close, but god damn it, I was a mile off on every single one of them, and on the NASCAR as well, and at poker. Now, it's a good job I don't bet a lot of money, because I would be goddamn broke. But yeah, anyway, it's always good to have a bit of a laugh at just how wrong all these things went. So yeah, stay with me for the Burt Locker episode 115. So, as I said, UFC Fight Night, UFC Vegas 53, headlined by Font and Vera at the weekend. I had bets on a few fights. Romanov, I had him to get the knockout in round one, and he got the submission in round one. So, yeah, I mean, it was always going to be Romanov to get the win in that one, really. I mean, Chase Sherman, he was actually the biggest underdog in UFC history. He was 10-1 against just to win. Largest underdog in UFC history. They made history right there. And so now Romanov, he actually mentioned John Jones's name, which is pretty cool. I mean, obviously Jones is going to be fighting Stipe Miocic, as far as we know. That's going to possibly be September, it's looking like. But yeah, I mean, that'd be interesting. I don't know. Romanov is a killer. He really is very, very good. I don't know how John Jones would fare against him, honestly. But then again, let's not put the cart before the horse. Romanov is 16-0, but who has he fought, really? I mean, with the greatest of respect to Chase Sherman has been struggling lately, and he's struggled before as well. I don't know if that's less necessarily the litmus test to say all of a sudden Romanov is going to take out one of the greatest of all time, albeit the greatest of all time at a lower weight class. So, there is that. Terrible bet. I bet on the knockout. Obviously he got the submission. Pretty pissed. And then I did say that this one's even worse, because what I did is I identified the correct bet. If you go back and look at the clip, it's on my shorts reel, but if you go back and look at the clip, Jotko, Meerchart by submission, I think it's called. I actually say, if you want a safe bet on Jotko by decision. But obviously, I'm not about that. I'm not about playing it safe. I like to roll the dice. I rolled the dice on Meerchart by submission, which, you know what, given the information we had, Jotko is not exactly like this world beater. He just ekes by decision after decision, which is why it was a safe bet to bet on the decision. And if you've taken that advice, you probably still haven't got much money, because the odds were fucking shite. Do you know what I mean? I think it was less than even money. Jotko by decision, which is why I mean, obviously it's worth betting on because it came off. You know what I mean? But it's like, but is it really? Where's the satisfaction in that? I ask. Where's the satisfaction? I see none. And Meerchart, he just got kind of outpointed, and he didn't look bad, to be fair to him, but he just got outpointed and wasn't able to find that submission. So yeah, sucks to be him. Terrible bet. Yeah, terrible bet. But Collier by submission. I mean, if he'd have managed to get to top position and managed to actually get anything going, to be fair, I still think Collier won that fight, honestly. I'm not saying, I don't like it when people say, oh, so-and-so was robbed. End of the day, it was close enough to go to a decision. And it was close-ish, I guess, but I didn't give Orlovsky a single round, in all honesty. They both kind of pieced each other up a bit. Orlovsky did a bit of damage, but Collier did a lot of damage to him. And Collier, I mean, again, I haven't seen the fight numbers, so I might be way off here, but I thought Collier outlanded him in every round. So I don't fully understand how the judges gave that to Orlovsky, but I'm not bothered either way. End of the day, my bet was still out the window because I bet on Collier by submission, which admittedly was a long shot. That was like 14-1. But, you'd like it to happen. And, look, Arlovski is sailing towards not being ranked again. Let's not go nuts. I mean, he might be actually. He might be sneaking into the top 15. But where from there? What's the point? What is he going to make another run at the title? I mean, I don't... Is he? Maybe. Probably not, though. Good for Arlovski. I like that he's still doing it and he's still going. But I don't know, I think the judges were a little bit kind there. Let's just put it mildly. And then, main event, Cheeto Vera against Rob Font. This was a really interesting one because it's one of the first times, or the first time in my memory anyway, that I remember somebody being outstruck to the tune of about 3-1, but being so effective in your striking that you make an absolute mess of the bike. Because the thing is like, yeah, okay, Font outlanded Cheeto, but Cheeto's face, not a mark on him, because he was able to just kind of block just enough, move his head. He's very good at rolling his head with those punches. And whilst Font outlanded him to the tune of 3-1, he didn't have a mark on him, and Font's face was hamburger meat. It really was. I mean, look at Font's face after that fight. It was an absolute mess. And I think it was like 4 out of the 5 rounds, Cheeto basically knocked him down and was like close to finishing the fight. And that's what I had the money on. I had the money on Cheeto Vera double chance just to get the finish, because I did quite fancy Cheeto Vera in that fight. He was an underdog anyway, so I got that part of it right at least. And because I just thought, look, if it stays in kicking range, then Cheeto's got this, which is where he managed to keep the fight for a lot of the time. Well, I say that, he did, Font was still very effective because, like I said, Font did outland him to the tune of about 3-1. But Vera did so much more damage. And some of those kicks, he did like when I think it was in the 4th round when he nearly got the finish again. And he did this side kick, right to the face, hit Font right in the chin and dropped him. But rather than going in and trying to finish him or letting him stand back up, bizarrely, Cheeto was just kicking him in the leg and letting him recover, which I was furious. I was fuming because I was like, look, I've got money on the finish here, Cheeto. Why aren't you finishing him? Because he could have finished that fight. Font was basically done. If he'd have either gone in to try and finish him or let him stand back up, but don't just stand there kicking his feet, letting him recover. That's stupid. That is a terrible strategy, because it's not like, look, I would have given him that decision all day, despite the fact he was outstruck 3-1 because of all the damage and because he got the knockdown. So I think it was unlikely the judges were going to see it any other way. But you know what? Leaving it in the hands of the judges and being outstruck 3-1, you end up losing that fight because you didn't follow up. I don't know. Why would you even leave the door open to that? Why would you even make that a possibility when you could have finished that fight? I feel like Vera could have easily finished that fight if he'd have just either let him stand back up. I don't know if his legs would have even been back under him. And if he can't stand back up, then the referee has to call it. But just let him back up and then start piecing him up again. But why stand there and just kicking his feet, just letting him recover? I thought that was bizarre. But either way, look. The judges got it right, which I was glad of, because it wasn't a certainty. Because like I said, when you looked at the numbers, it was like, oh, I hope Cheeto does get his hand raised here, because he's clearly won this fight. But on the numbers, it's kind of, there are arguments to be had. But they obviously score damage as a primary factor now. So that's judged before ring control or anything like that. The amount of damage, the effectiveness of your strikes is scored far higher. Rightfully so. Either way, yeah, it was a good event. It was enjoyable. And on to the next one. So we've got, the big one, UFC 274 next weekend. Old Oliveira versus Charles. Oliveira versus Charles. Fucking idiot. Oliveira versus Gaethje. Apologise. So yeah, that should be a fun one. So yeah, just to say before we go into the news, thank you for all your support. Really appreciate it. If you could, just do me a favour, just comment. Let me know what you thought of the event at the weekend. Let me know who you've been betting on. Let me know which bets let you down. Let me know which bets you got right. I love talking about it, so just let me know in the comments. It really helps me out a lot. So yeah. And also, like, share, subscribe, all of that. If you want to go check out the Patreon, please do. It's £1 a month and you get early access to all the picks and extra content as well. It's a good time. It's like £1 a month, and it just helps me to kind of do things with the show. So Moving on, we're in the news. Most things in the news has just been fight announcements, really, for UFC in London in July. You've got Darren Till has accepted a fight with Jack Hermansen. Now, this is interesting because obviously it wasn't long ago that Jack Hermansen wrestled Khamzat Chimaev, Till's new training partner. So there could be some insider info there. You never know. You know, Khamzat Chimaev might have been able to offer some really good insight. So it could be quite a clever fight for Darren Till to take. But at this point, regardless of if he's got insider information or, you know, who he's training with, one thing is for certain, and that is Darren Till really needs to pick up a win here. I'm not saying that he's going to get cut, because I don't think he would. I think the UFC have too much invested in him, but he has to pick up a win here. He hasn't won in quite a while, and that could be a problem. And it's actually not a foregone conclusion either. Jack Hermansen is bloody good. I do favour Till in that. I think that standing up, he's probably going to be quite a lot better than Jack Hermansen. But God, I hope that his takedown defence has been improved by training with Khamzat Chimaev, because if Jack Hermansen gets you on the ground, his submissions are very high level. If he gets a hold of something, that's going to be a problem. And if Darren Till then, you know, drops another fight, it's kind of like, where the marketing strategy for where you go from there becomes problematic, is all I would say. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of Darren Till. I think, you know, the sky's the limit, and he's very, very talented, obviously, but so are all these other guys. And that is the problem with this sport, isn't it? At a certain level, when you get to a certain level, he got his title shot against Woodley. Once you get those title shots, there are no easy fights after that. You can't go back to fighting like all these up-and-comers. Jack Hermansen's right up there. He's very, very skilled. And so there are no fights that are a given at this stage. But I'll be looking forward to. I'm just been looking forward to seeing Darren Till back in the octagon, honestly. And then the other one, you've got the main event, also for that same card, Curtis Blaydes against Tom Aspinall. Now that is a big fight in every sense of the word. Two very big guys. Now on the feet, I would think that Tom is probably going to be a bit too fast for Curtis. But then again, we thought that about Dorcas. And we all saw what happened there. Curtis Blaydes just swung that big old ham hock over the top and just cracked Dorcas and knocked him out cold, like ice cold. But you've got to think that, I mean, Tom Aspinall, he's shown his striking is very, very good. He's also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. And that could be an issue for Blaydes in terms of, look, Blaydes, his easiest path to victory, obviously, look, we all saw him knock out Dorcas. That was awesome. But I do feel like Dorcas was a bit undersized in that, and he was struggling to kind of get around the reach of Curtis Blaydes. Curtis Blaydes was just a much bigger guy, a much bigger athlete, and who was able to swing and kind of, you know, not get hit. But, you know, Tom Aspinall, he's 6'5", I believe. He's a big, big boy. He's 6'5" or 6'6". He's a big dude. I'm sure he's the same size, if not bigger, than Curtis Blaydes. Curtis Blaydes is a thick guy, though, whose wrestling is extremely good. So I would say that initial thoughts are that the path of least resistance for Curtis Blaydes would be to take the fight down and try and smash the ground and pound and get Tom Aspinall out of there. But the wild card, if you will, is that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. And it's not just a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Tom Aspinall is a practicing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He has been practicing in Jiu-Jitsu since he was a very young age. You know, his father ran Aspinall's Jiu-Jitsu, which is where he, you know, where he's trained. And so he has been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu since he was so young that it's kind of, if anyone can catch Blaydes in a submission, it is Tommy Aspinall. So I am just very excited. That is a huge matchup, because the winner likely then goes on into the title conversation, at least. So yeah, very, very looking forward to that. And then the last little bit is just a little shout out to bare knuckle boxing. You had Riggs got a tomato chucked in his face, which, I mean, I don't know, it's a dick move, isn't it? I mean, because he seemed to be asking about a tomato, then all of a sudden he was just like, meep, and he went nuts. And then, to add insult to injury, he got knocked out in the second round. Like, at least if you get a tomato put in your face and you then take revenge, that's something. But to get pied off like that, and then get knocked out in the second round. My heart goes out to Riggs. I'm a big fan of his, actually. He's very, very good. He's bare knuckle boxer. I'll try and watch it where I can. It's quite good. It's quite exciting. It's quite fun. But yeah, then we go into Troll of the Week. So the first one, it uses the whole Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial thing, and it just says, yeah, this is me, me showing my friends jiu-jitsu, and me showing my friends jiu-jitsu, and my wife. So yeah. And then you've got Kamaru Usman. He's basically playing both sides of it. Because it uses Always Sunny in Philadelphia, this meme, because I'm a big fan of it. So it's got, I'm playing both sides so that I always come out on top. And that is Kamaru Usman at the moment, because he's praising Dana's management of the UFC whilst begging for a boxing match with Canelo. And to be honest, the begging for the boxing match isn't going great, because Canelo just keeps on saying, yeah, go fuck yourself, sit back down and all that. But yeah, anyway, that's all I've got time for this week. I am going to be doing some terrible bets on UFC 274. As I said, Charles Oliveira against Justin Gaethje in that main event, but there are loads of great fights on that event, so I'm going to be doing more than one terrible bet. And until then, keep those odds long and those bets terrible.